welcome to Ranked&Reviewed. I'm your host, Alanis Maximus, and today we're going to be looking over Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Is this on? Hey, Alan, can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on set here. At the bridge that was used on Temple of Doom, the one that you like the most so far. And sorry, you like Last Crusade better, but you did like this movie a lot. So 1 second. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, I'm on set here at the Temple of Doom bridge, just here to give it a big fucking middle finger. You know, like that's all I'm doing on the Temple of Doom set. But hey, how you been, man?
Yeah, not bad. Got a cold that is not the Ronies, but a cold, which sucks. But other than that, I've been good. How about yourself?
Yeah, not bad, man. It's a bit shit here in the jungle, which is why I'm gonna step back out of the fucking jungle. So
hey, teleportation.
I don't know, man. Look, I everyone that's watching now, I said to Alan, I'm gonna do something at the start of the show. All I want you to do is come in and introduce the show. I'll take it from there. So Alan had no idea what I was doing that entire time with the whole background and virtual thing. I just thought it'd be funny. And I was setting the show up, and yeah, I saw the virtual background thing. Man, I should use that. And I started looking up jungles and fucking Indiana Jones and shit, and found the bridge. So yeah, that's where it took it. Anyway, welcome to Loud Media's Ranked and Reviewed of Indiana Jones, and we are on the 4th episode of this Ranked and Reviewed series. I'm your host, Tommy West. Joining me as always is Alanis Maximus, and we're here to talk about the most loved entry in the most loved movie in the Indiana Jones franchise. The one that everyone talks about all the time. The one that everyone's like, dude, have you seen Kingdom of the fucking Crystal Skull? Well, that's what we're here to talk about. It's quite the obvious, actually. Everyone fucking hates this movie. So, quickly, before we get into any trivia or anything information, I'm going to give you the rundown. This movie came out in 2008, rated PG, with a runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes. Directed by Steven Spielberg. Writers, David Coop. Story by George Lucas. And Jeff Nathanson contributed to the story too. This stars Harrison Ford, Cate Blanchett, and Shia LaBeouf, and has an IMDb rating of 6.2 out of 10. And this is the quick sort of rundown of it. In 1957, archaeologist and adventurer Dr. Henry Indiana Jones is called back into action and becomes entangled in a Soviet plot to uncover the secret behind mysterious artifacts known as the Crystal Skulls. So, before we get into much more, I just want to hear, Alan, what do you think about this movie?
I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. It's without going too deep at this point and giving everything away, it has a lot more for me to go, hey, what? But I still enjoyed it. Like, it didn't feel like it dragged.
And I mean, come on, you got to have some more criticism. Like, I mean, you got to understand when people walked away from this movie, they walked away like, have you seen the South Park episode where they're like watching Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and they're like, what are they doing? They're raping him. They're raping him. And they're
I think one, Shia LaBeouf, just no. It's my main thing. Fucking aliens. Like, I like sci-fi. I like aliens, but not an Indiana Jones movie. Like, some people argue that, they could be real, but Jesus isn't, and the Holy Grail. It's like, yeah, but they're more actual real-world relics. Like, the Crystal Skull, alien skulls, it's not the same thing to me in terms of an Indiana Jones movie.
This is an interesting thing that we could talk quickly about. What are your beliefs in the aliens?
I believe that I don't know if they've been here, but I think in a world of a space, galaxies of infinite possibility, I think there is other sentient life. Whether it's been here, I don't know.
Never has been here. My opinion, I agree. Listen, this is the way I look at it. The definition of infinite is that something happens infinite amount of times. It's forever. It goes on forever. Yeah. So that means that the definition of the universe and how long universes go for is infinite. Means to me that the world being created the way it was with the Big Bang and all that must have happened an infinite amount of times along with universes. I'm sure these worlds could be hundreds of years, thousands of years older than us and dead, not live. They could be more progressed. They could have just little fucking bio-worms on it as aliens. I'm not talking about life, but what I'm saying is we can't have been created and be the only. This can't be the only time this has ever happened. We can't be the. Why are we so special? There has to be something else out there. So I agree with you totally. And what I want to know now is, what are your thoughts on the actual crystal skull? Because have you done much actual research into these actual archaeology skulls that they found in real history?
Well, there you go. I didn't know they were actual archaeological skulls up until you said it just then. So I'm a little less annoyed now. And tell me more.
They aren't so archaeological. Word right now. Yeah, they aren't. They're sort of a mystery shrouding them. They were found in like the 50s or 60s, I think, by somebody in where they are located in the Indiana Jones movie. Yeah, but they're like fully realized skulls that have been like polished out of crystal, but they're so polished and smooth and everything that everyone's like, there's no way that these are from the ancient civilization. Like these are like buffered smooth. And there's like a big sort of argument between archaeologists and skepticists that are like, listen, man, like a guy that found him and he's there still digging. He's got like 2 or 3 or something. I can't remember. But if you watch the show Expedition Unknown, they did an episode about it. It's one of the more archaeological sort of things that I have trouble believing in, just because the tools that would have taken to create this thing would be so advanced that it's unheard of or unseen in any of like ancient history. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't know. You could learn a little bit more about it. So I mean, like, as much as this is a stupid premise, and it isn't a good movie, the actual sort of history and facts behind this movie are a little bit more real than you might have thought. So
that gives it a few more brownie points. But as well as things I don't like, the shitty CGI animals. One, the prairie dogs or whatever they were. And 2, swing through Shia LaBeouf Tarzaning through the jungle with a bunch of crap CG monkeys. No.
And no. Why is he such a good sword fighter and able to stand across cars like with his legs, and then have 2 bushes hitting him in the nuts while he's doing fucking full on like sword fighting? You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I don't know, man. I feel like the accent that Cate Blanchett was putting on was terrible as well. Like, I feel like that Russian accent was fucking horrible.
Absolutely. And she and the Russians, they were just cut from a mold. They weren't menacing like the other kind of villains in the other 3 movies. They were just
like the real Russians at the moment.
Now there's menacing.
They were no Putin. They were no Putin.
No.
By the way, sorry to make a joke at this. We know it's tough for people out there, and we are here with everyone in Ukraine. If you are watching, we are standing by you, and we are here to help you and hope you get through this horrible moment. And, you know, everyone in Europe basically going through this. Our thoughts are with you, but I had to make that joke. I'm sorry. It was just no hanging fruit. So yeah. Like, her accent was like just classic, you know, well, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
I can do that shit, man. I'm an actor. You know what I mean?
And her, like, right-hand man, just like your generic big dude who you can punch 1,000,000 times and not knock out. It's like, yeah. We've pretty much seen that in every indie movie, but this one was just plain.
My problem with this movie isn't so much the plot, isn't so much the aliens and stuff. It's about how Indiana Jones is not going after a physical treasure this time. What he is going after is knowledge. And that's not what he does. It's been the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, the fucking the stones from the temple. And then this time, he's not even drawn to the jungle because of the skull. He's drawn to the jungle because he's forced to go on this fucking trek, yeah. And I can't remember I watched it just the other day, but I was watching it while doing other stuff because I've seen it so many times. He goes. Does he get forced to go over there with the Russians, or does he go over there to find that his friend that's been lost in the jungle, or what is the cause of him going over there again?
He goes over there with his son, Henry. I think to look for the lost crystal skull. He flies over to
so he is
wherever it is.
Okay, so what my problem with it is then is it that he's looking for it, but at the end there is no that. It disappears. There is nothing to grab a hold of. And I know that he's looking for this skull. It's not. He doesn't know that that's what's going to happen. So I guess that gets a pass. But it's kind of just how this movie's laid out compared to what Indiana Jones should be. I'd die for another Indiana Jones where he's going after something like, just for instance, like Blackbeard's gold or Captain Morgan's treasure or
Spear of Destiny, even. It's something like that.
Or the True Cross of Christ, even. Something. I don't know. It just feels like a movie that had a complete different sort of tone and story. And I know people are like, but you don't want the same thing over and over again. But with Indiana Jones, you kind of do.
Yeah.
You don't want them to go, well, this time it's fucking Indiana Jones working at a circus. You know what I mean? Eventually you want him looking for something. You want the action. But I feel like there's so much to do with Nazis and stuff. I wonder now with what's going on with Russia, what we are going to get with Indiana Jones 5, because there has to be a nemesis. There has to. I think I've heard that it's set in the 60s. It's going to have to involve some nemesis, and usually those nemesises are a country, a leader, a war, and soldiers, armies, in Crystal Temple of Doom. Yes, it was the weird cult, but also that felt like its own army. You know what I mean? Like in the jungle, jungle army. I don't know, man. I don't know what they'll do because with it's being set in the 60s, obviously they want to try and stick to history as much as possible. I mean, Vietnam War did not start till 70s, right?
No, but they could actually bring it back to Russia because of the Cold War. So I think that was the late 40s to the 80s.
Let's have a quick look at what they've got down on IMDb for Indiana Jones 5, if they've got like a rough thing for it, because I'm really fucking interested now. Indiana Jones 5. So 2023 we're getting it. It says...
And we're not getting Shia LaBeouf. Because even though he even knew he did bad.
Yeah, well, it says... I'm just looking through. Quickly seeing if there's anything about it being like what set time. Because I remember it saying it was going to be in the 60s, like reading it. Should be starting... No, I can't. I'll keep talking anyway, and we'll...
Yes.
Sure, I'll find something about it. But it is rumored that this film will ignore the events of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and this one will be really taking place after Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, like Crystal Skull never happened.
I don't think that's necessary. I think they could have followed on and it still acknowledged it.
I agree. It says... I think that what Indy looks for when he and when he looks for it, dictates what the movie's going to be. So the selection of MacGuffin is everything. I think that since Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was set in 1957, there was a conscious desire to say a lot of our influences are going to be science fiction movies. You got that with the original script Jeb Stewart took from the first shot at it with Indiana Jones and the Saucer Man from Mars. That was a really conscious decision that dictated a lot about what the story would be and what the movie would be like. And I think that's what was followed through on really nicely. So, I mean, I just read a quote from some guy, David Cobb, the story writer there. So he was a part of the story concept. I mean, look, I'm just going to give overall opinion on this movie. I really think that it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's not horrible. It's still enjoyable and fun. Yes, it's way sillier. Yes, the CGI is shit. Yes, Indiana Jones does grab onto a snake to get himself out of a quicksand pit. Fucking stupid. And there's so many more elements to this that I fucking can't stand. But also, you have to see where it's going to rank, baby, at the end. What about you? Like, what's your overall impressions at the end of this sort of?
At the end is it was a good kind of adventure movie. But it was a bad Indiana Jones movie, and some of the other things as well, like the ants, man, like. There are like the soldier army ants, whatever they're called, but to invent these massive, ridiculous ants that are just like eating whole humans alive.
There's no fucking way those ants would consume people the way they do.
Exactly. And they're not that big, and they don't pull you down into their bloody their burrows. That was.
Did you notice though with the start? You mentioned it when you talked about like the mole things, that like the 3D, the CG mole things. Have you noticed at the start of every one of these movies, the Paramount Mountain is represented by what comes into shot?
Yeah.
So the first movie, it shows a mountain of the Paramount like logo on the mountain, and then they are in an actual mountain. The second one, I can't remember what they pan out with right now. I've got a mind blank. The third one, I think it's more mountains again while they're out horse riding. And then on the fourth one, it's that stupid fucking molehill that the mole pops out of at the top. But what I've got to give him credit for, that I love, is the opening sequence with the 50 sort of like greaser kids listening to Hound Dog from Elvis Presley while the Russian soldiers are driving next to him or whatever near Area 51. I love that scene where they're sort of having a drag race with the soldiers.
Yeah.
And I also love when they're going through the warehouse, how you get to see the Ark from the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes. It's actually it's the first movie that doesn't have its own like little intro story as well. Like it's just straight lead up into the main story, which I found interesting.
Oh, and by the way, there is no fucking way that box was that magnetic that's all you had to do was open some bullets, pour them into your hand, and then go and follow the magnetic fuck. That's what I mean by this movie's not a horrible movie. This movie, I don't hate this movie. I can watch this movie. But it's so many decisions that they make like that decision that I just roll my eyes at. Like, I don't know, man. I do love at the end the troll, though. It's like a Rick roll that happens where his hat blows off and Shia LaBeouf goes to pick it up and put it on like he's going to be the next Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford's like, give it here, fuckwit.
Yeah.
It's such a Rick roll. It was almost like I felt like that Rick roll was going to happen to me when that happened. I mean, what would your opinion be if Shia LaBeouf was to be the next Indiana Jones?
Definitely not Shia LaBeouf. And as you said, you can't replace him. And I don't know if you could hand him over to someone else either, because it wouldn't be the same. Like, there shouldn't be a passing of the mantle. It should be over. It should be done. Like,
if it's going to be Shia LaBeouf, I am 100%, without a doubt, walking my ass across this fucking bridge and never coming back, bro. never coming back because I fucking hate Shia LaBeouf in this movie. Yeah, I hate how he's like, you know, I want to fix up bikes, and my name's fucking mud or muck or
Yeah.
muck. He's just the shit, and you know he's like combing his hair and shit. And did you know? I think that scene where there's like they're in the bar or whatever it is, where they're like greasified or whatever they do. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's shot in the same place. Like, I'm not sure. This isn't 100%. I almost feel like it's the same looking restaurant as the one from Back to the Future.
It seems like it, yeah.
They do use that Back to the Future square, which is on the Universal Paramount backlot, for a lot of things. So I feel like that motorcycle chase bit with Harrison Ford on the back of the motorcycle may have been done around that clock tower area. But we can look into it.
It'd be interesting to find out.
Let's do that right now by getting into some trivia and see if we can come across it. So, this is some trivia on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Everyone hope Alan gets better because we got the Batman to go see, and my ass is going to be fucking ranking not ranking the movie on its own. Can you imagine that? Me sitting there going, it was all right. That dude Edward from Twilight, he did a good job, I guess. Or whatever. You know. So
the thing is, it's not the Ronings.
Yeah,
I did the test, so I'm not going to die.
You definitely won't. I can guarantee that. All right, so several weeks into production, Harrison Ford saw a blonde woman on the set and asked who she was. He was told it was Cate Blanchett, who he had never seen out of costume and did not recognize her without her black wig. Is that actually him not recognizing her, or is that dementia setting in? Because he's originally Indiana Jones was set to be up against an uprising of ex-Nazis, but Steven Spielberg felt he could not treat the Nazis lightly after directing Schindler's List in 1993, and Harrison Ford felt that they had plumb wore the Nazis out. George Lucas also felt that the 1950s decade would have to take into account the Cold War, and when he heard that Joseph Stalin had been interested in the Crystal Skulls, he made the Soviet the script's villains. Director Steven Spielberg did not shoot this movie in digital format, which his friend and partner George Lucas had adopted. Lucas approved, seeing that it looked, in his words, like it was shot 3 years after Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You'd never know there was 20 years in between shooting. Let's see what else. Trying to find if we can find anything about that. Here we go. Yeah, see, trying to find something about the motorcycle bit. I want to know if I'm right about that. And maybe here we go. We do two more. This is the only movie in the franchise in which Indiana Jones does not have a pistol. Here we go. In the chase scene through the library, Indy responds to a question from one of his students by saying research is best obtained by getting out of the library. This seems to contradict Jones' advice in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade when he tells his students that 70% of archaeology is done in the library. In the Last Crusade, his claim that X never marks the spot was also disproved. So Indy may have found it necessary to change his advice since then. And we'll go for one more, which is, with a final budget of $185 million, this is, as of 2020, the most expensive movie directed by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
We're going to come back to a little bit more trivia soon, but I thought we'd have a little chat more about a couple more things, aspects to the movie. So what did you think about the return of Marianne?
I think it was good. I don't like that they're going to dismiss that as well. Like, I don't know. I don't think she's coming back for the next movies, but that was one thing I did like. I think it was good to see her again because she wasn't obnoxious like the character in the Temple of Doom. She was decent, and she was also less, I think, whiny than she was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. They didn't really play on that too much, which was good.
100%, 100%. And I'm trying to think of other parts in the movie. Like, I do really like the action scenes, even though that bit with him like across the two cars was really stupid. I do think that the rest of that scene, except for the monkeys and him standing across the vehicles like that, getting hit in the nuts with the CGI bush. Apart from that, that scene is really fucking well done. Like the way the cars are impacting with each other, the way it was shot, that awesome ass fucking tree cutter that cuts down the trees with the giant blades. Which I have the Lego set for that, by the way, which is awesome. And there are some awesome action scenes in this movie, like all around, like awesome action scenes. I mean, as much as a lot of the first scene is pretty silly with them in the, like, you know, with the crappy Russians and all that. That bit when Indy's running across the boxes in the hangar and he does his whip and like goes to swing and then lands onto the car and all that shit, the truck, sorry, and all that. It's fucking awesome, those parts. Like where this movie shines, it really shines. But where this movie doesn't shine and it lacks, it fucking lacks, bro. I mean, so we know we're getting Indiana Jones 5. We know it's, I don't know if you know, but this will be the first Indiana Jones we're going to get without Steven Spielberg attached to it. He left as director due to differences in the story and the direction of it, or where he wanted it to go. I'm really disappointed in that choice because Steven Spielberg just happens to be my favorite filmmaker, director ever. I mean, he's responsible for so many good movies, and even if he didn't direct them, he was a part of producing them, writing them. I mean, he was even in the final scene on the steps in the house of Scarface with Martin Scorsese on the scene where Al Pacino's getting like shooting everyone and getting shot at and falls off the rail and shit. He was there shooting that with Martin Scorsese on the set. Like you can see behind the scenes footage of him looking at like monitors and shit like that.
Yeah.
He's even been there for movies, super significant movies. I mean, Jurassic Park, E.T. Didn't direct or anything, but Back to the Future he was a producer on. You know, then you have movies like Ready Player One. You have him producing The Goonies. Like there are just he's just made so many classic cool movies, man. Like crazy. But anyway, what's your opinion on Steven Spielberg not coming back? And also, what do you think of Steven Spielberg as a filmmaker?
I think what I like of him, I really like. I don't think I know of anything that I dislike as well. Like things like War of the Worlds, I'm not really one way or the other. Yeah, without him there, it's if it's going to be bad, it's going to be really bad, but it may be okay.
I'm really upset, man, because as I said, I mean, I love Steven Spielberg. I love Ready Player One even, but I do feel like he hasn't done a movie that really speaks to me in a long time. So I was really looking forward to an Indiana Jones movie from Steven Spielberg again. I just only hope that the work that he did do on the movie before he did leave, that some of it remains intact and that we do actually get that Steven Spielberg feel to the movie, because no one can deny that with every Indiana Jones movie, whether it's the fourth or the first, all of those movies feel like a Steven Spielberg movie.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is with Steven Spielberg and his directing, because every Steven Spielberg movie feels like a movie from him. I mean, I'm not interested in seeing his new one. Is it West Side Story that he just did?
I think so. Yeah, I've no interest in that either.
Yeah. So I was really hoping that this was going to be like a return to seeing an Indiana Jones, like Steven Spielberg movie. But look, who's the new director that they've brought on? I'm just going to check that out quickly. Stop sharing this fucking screen. So, just looking it up. So, fuck off. Where would you rank, Kate Blanchett compared to the other villains in this? I would say, look, personally, I'd rank her higher than I'd rank the lead temple dude in Temple of Doom, because I still feel like she at least was a character outside of like everything. Like she could have been still been a person outside of the situations that were created for the movie. Whereas I feel like the temple guy, the lead dude, that's like the bald dude that pulls the heart out and all that, there isn't much to him. Like he's not much of a threat to anybody unless you go to his temple. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'd still rank her higher than him in like villain wise, but I would say out of the other villains, she's definitely hands down the worst.
I think I'll put her at the bottom just because Temple Guy gave me the heebie-jeebies. Like, even if it is just his temple where it's a problem, I would want nothing to do with him.
Right.
That guy's there, I ain't going to the temple kind of thing.
All right, whereas, so this is going to be, the new movie is going to be directed by James Mangold, and he has done movies and TV shows. I'm just having a quick look at his director credits. So he's done, Copland, Girl Interrupted, The Wolverine in 2013, which is terrible, but then he did Logan, which is a good movie, I guess. Ford versus Ferrari. He is in post-production, which means the movie's shot. Post-production for Indiana Jones 5. So that means the movie's shot and done.
Yeah, I think they just announced it's finished filming.
Okay, about time. So we are actually going to get this movie. John Williams was announced to return to compose the 5th film, which is really cool, man. Just quickly having a look if there's any more information leading from this one. We're doing number 4, coming up to the next one. Well, there you go. After the release of Ready Player One, Steven Spielberg said his next movie would either be Indiana Jones 5 or West Side Story. Well, we got West Side Story, and it's not going to be. Okay, here we go. In an Entertainment Weekly interview with screenwriter David Coep, he confirmed that the character Henry Mutt Jones the Third, which was played by Shia LaBeouf and introduced in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is not going to be involved in the 5th film. While Coep didn't mention that, didn't mention why the character and LaBeouf wouldn't be involved, it could be assumed part of the reason for this decision is because of the negative reception both the character of Mutt and Shia LaBeouf received from critics and audiences.
So, I heard rumors that Shia LaBeouf kind of went, I know I did a disservice here, so didn't want to come back as well, which is interesting.
But the problem is, with that is that he didn't do a disservice, in my opinion. It's not his writing. He got told to play a 50s greaser kid that is all up in his dad's face, doesn't want to be, doesn't go to school, so it's not exactly Shia LaBeouf's fault for how bad that character was. It was definitely the writing and the directing of that character. But the fact that it was Shia LaBeouf does make it all that worse. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm going to start putting in our rankings as we wrap this one up. Do you want to start, do you want to sort of, give a final rundown of like the whole, what your take after watching this entire series is after not watching it for 20 years and if this has made you more of an Indiana Jones fan than you were previously and all of the rest you'd like to say?
I definitely enjoyed this. And exactly as you said, I think I'm a bit more of a fan now because there's a lot of things that I didn't necessarily pick up on or pay attention to back when I was a kid or a teenager. I think it's well worth anyone that's been considering doing it to go back and watch these movies. Apparently as well, I heard from my brother, because they're running on Channel 7 at the moment, they're cut on Channel 7, so don't watch them on TV. I don't see why you would cut these movies. They're pretty tame. Like, but yeah, it's
my son and me watched Last Crusade recently, and
yeah, it's like there's nothing really violent or overly violent about these movies. You don't see any gore. You don't. Yeah, I don't get it. But yes, definitely get on Paramount Plus or wherever you're from, the streaming service, and watch them. If you haven't watched them, watch them because they're great. If you're thinking of rewatching them, rewatch them because they're great. I had a good time and I recommend it. Even Crystal Skull, I think, while it's not the best, it's still watchable as an entry into the series. It shouldn't be removed, I don't think. That upsets me.
Yeah, I can see why. To me, it doesn't really upset me too much just because all I hope for with this movie is that it's good.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be the last Indiana Jones movie, most likely with Harrison Ford. I want to make sure it's good. I don't really care about what they ignore from previous movies, what they do. I just want this to be better than what we got with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Because, like, as we both said, this is an unwatchable movie by any stretch of the imagination. It is very watchable and it's very enjoyable and it's very good. But if you're an Indiana Jones fan like me, where these are some of your favorite movies of all time, it is a smack in the face.
Yeah.
But that's why some of our rankings might surprise you, which I'm going to bring up Alan's rankings first. Alan's rankings are officially number 1, The Last Crusade, number 2, The Temple of Doom, number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and number 4, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, some of you out there might think, well, that's a perfectly reasonable ranking. That makes a lot of sense. And while I would say to you, that's true, I guess, I'm about to fucking blow your socks off, and I'm about to put Temple of Doom last, baby!
Oh! Now it's my turn.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. I'm joining you right now.
I quit.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry, okay? Just don't stress, all right? I'm out. So, that is our official ranking. So I dislike Temple of Doom that much. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about that movie. There's just so many things about that movie that I don't find attractive compared to like the others. Like, I still feel like with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you got to explore the Amazon jungle or whatever. You got to know these cool places. India, you just went to these weird ass places, ate some weird ass food, and then went to a fucking cave. And that's my whole thing is that for me, with Indiana Jones, it must feel like a globe-trotting adventure. And Temple of Doom definitely feels like the most secluded and sort of like one sort of location thing. And I mean, yeah, you get lots of differences with on the bridge and in blah blah blah, but it doesn't have that feel that I love from Indiana Jones. While Kingdom of the Crystal Skull doesn't have that feel either, it still, while it does have those moments, nails it more for me than what Temple of Doom does. And that's just the way it goes. But trust me, man, I know how you feel. I want to walk myself over the bridge too. Do you think this is a shame for me? This is like, people are like, oh man, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is definitely the worst Indiana Jones movie. I'm like, agreed. Yep. In my mind, I'm secretly going, if only you knew, man. They probably shank me or shoot me on spot, bro. And trust me, this is not an outlier of a movie. I have terrible taste in movies. Okay, I don't know why that is, but I've proven it to myself. I used to be like, nah, my movies that I like aren't bad. Then I came home from Batman v Superman saying it was awesome, and everyone was like, that movie was fucking shit. And then I came home from fucking something else recently, and I was like, that movie is fucking awesome. Everyone was like, that movie sucked. I'm like, I just must have a shit taste, and I've accepted it. So, look, I accept that you like Temple of Doom, and you're just gonna have to accept that I have a shit taste in movies, I guess.
Yeah, I think the top two we were on point though, and we agreed on, didn't we?
Definitely. No, actually, wait. No, because yours number 2, Temple of Doom. Number 3, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ah, yes, of course. We did that. Well, there you go.
So, yeah, this was... I'll bring them to my ranking and Alan's ranking. Yeah. So, it's a very different...
We agree Last Crusade is the best.
We both agree, and we both obviously are happy that Indiana Jones 5 looks to be like it's going to be set after that, and maybe that they'll go for that sort of feel to it. Let's hope with the John Williams music, with with Harrison Ford back, with the mistakes they learned from the previous installment. The only thing this movie is missing for potentially being awesome is Steven Spielberg now. I mean, I just looked up that director's credits and everything he's done has been pretty fucking subpar. But look, let's give him a shot, because how much worse can it get than Temple of Doom, or, if you're on Alan's side, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? You know what? We should make T-shirts. Vote Tomye, vote Alan, and then sell them.
Yes.
Who gets fucking the most votes. And then you can become president of Indiana Jones country.
Yes. Yes.
In that country, the rule is no temples that are doomed. Otherwise, and no bridges, because I've just walked across this bridge like 7 times today already. So
I think that bridge is an OH&S issue as well. So I mean, we don't want a lawsuit.
It definitely would be. Hey, those poor kids lugging those stones. How can you want? You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. You like the movie? Whatever. You like it. So that's it. That's the finale to our Indiana Jones ranked and reviewed movies. I really enjoyed doing this one. I thought it was good. The next ones I'm really looking forward to, just because they're sort of not mainstream, but they were at one point. They weren't mainstream, then they became mainstream for a bit, then they weren't mainstream. And what we are doing is the CKY videos, which are primarily, you could call them skateboard videos, but they're more like 50% skateboarding, 50% jackass stuff, or maybe sometimes even 70%, 60% jackass stuff, 40% skateboarding. Like they lean much heavier onto the side of the jackass stuff than they would the skateboarding. The difference between us doing the CKY movies and the other ranked and reviewed series is that we will be doing CKY1 and CKY2K all in one episode, and then CKY3 and CKY4 on the next week's episode. So over 2 weeks, we'll bring you the 4 films, because they range from about the 45-minute mark to hour mark each. So we feel that we